welcome back to Weenie Trades. In this video, I'm going to be going over the SPY, the Russel, and ticker requests from the community. So I thought I had some time to film this video on Saturday, but I'm going to be filming it on Sunday. I was enjoying some time watching football with family and apparently new friends, drinking beer, going with the American culture. So take today's analysis with a grain of salt. I've had a few beers. Kind of fills up the tummy. I'm not too much of a beer drinker. Hit the like button if you're a beer drinker. Hit the like button if you're not a beer drinker. And let's get right into the video. So first up, we got SPY. SPY over here. We've got a $5 expected move for the week. So we're expected to move higher or lower by $5. If you recall last week, I was saying, hey, SPY, not much likely to go higher than 472. Well, the high of the week was 472. They kind of did in the pre-market, so it was a little bit goofy. And if you recall earlier in the week when we did SPY updates, I was saying, hey, if we come underneath 466, that would be a little bit of trouble for the bulls. Well, SPY bounced right off of 466 and rallied straight to that 472. So this week, SPY looks like it probably wants to go sideways to slightly lower. Maybe we come down and test that 466. Maybe go as low as 464. We'll reevaluate at Weenie Trades Live. Maybe we get above this pivot, 471. If we did, then we could see more new all-time highs. So that's how I'm going to be trading the SPY. And next up we got is the IWM. IWM, I did buy the dip last week on IWM. I said I was looking to buy the dip at 234. And guess what? I bought the dip at about 234. So I am actually a little bit underwater on that IWM trade. IWM's at 232.72. If IWM sells off a little more, I might take a dip buy at about the 230 level with the stop loss just underneath. And because these are options contracts that I am trading the IWM with, I'm just going to probably let them expire. I'm just going to keep the risk in the premium. I usually only buy 1 or 2 contracts at most, and most of the time they're usually spreads, but still looking for IWM long-term upside. If it's starting to close daily or weekly underneath that 230, it could be a false breakout and we could sell off. However, I think that is the less likely scenario. Again, each and every day the market evolves, so I'll be willing to reevaluate that at Weenie Trades Live. So dip buying the IWM, if it sells off a little bit more, I think it's money. That's just my personal opinion. Not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy the IWM. I'm just saying, hey, that's what I'm doing. So that is the IWM. Next up we got is Boeing. Boeing is on the list for tickers for me to break down. And Boeing was a goofball. It was in the trade setups last week, along with Roblox, Shopify, other bangers, whatever it may be. But either way, Boeing, we talked about this pennant pattern right over here and how I would love to buy Boeing over that breakout over 225. Well, Boeing got over that 225 and did a gap and go right on Monday. Didn't really give too much of a chance for an entry. Then it just chopped around, so it gapped up on good news, and then on Friday, it just gapped down and sold off. Boy, Boeing got clapped on Friday. I was trying to buy the dip on Boeing at like 214.50 and took a quick little stop out. Kept it very small, but boy, Boeing really got clapped on Friday. Generally, that means that the momentum is still continuing to the downside, and I think they're delaying something with one of their aircrafts, whatever it may be. There's a lot of negative news with Boeing, unfortunately. It just may be one of those plays that just takes longer now because of that negative news catalyst. So short term, what I'm looking at on Boeing is I like using gaps as reference points. So I'm just going to bold this bottom red line. That's right here at about 213.30. So let's call it 213. Above, Boeing has the chance to recover and may be bullish. I'm more leaning towards the side that Boeing goes sideways to slightly lower. And especially if it's underneath that 213 level, Boeing's likely to sell off and continue to sell off. So be careful on Boeing, leaning towards bear on Boeing. And I was saying on Friday, I was like, hey, I'm buying the dip on Boeing with a tight stop. Boom, stopped out. When that happens, usually it means doom. And we'll get into that on doom with PayPal over here. So that is Boeing. Next up, we got is AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. And boom, kind of just went sideways. New all-time high, going sideways. AMD is a wide expected move, $7. You know, if the market's bullish, it's probably going to continue on higher. If the market's bearish, it's probably going to go on lower. I'd expect AMD to probably just go sideways, maybe in sideways to slightly lower. And that's just based off this technical formation. We made a higher high. We pulled back. We got a doji day on Friday. As long as that higher low trend keeps intact, sure, it's fine. So as long as, you know, AMD's above 150, Sure, it's good. Good for the uptrend. Beneath 150, we might retrace just a little bit lower. Double check that last video I made on the AMD analysis. And briefly, I just wanted to touch on Nvidia since we're already talking about the chip sector. I like to talk about AMD and Nvidia together. So we got Nvidia, high, low, lower, high, higher, low, bull break. So now we got the bull break. I'd expect Nvidia to probably touch something like 340 this week, just by the way it's going on up. Otherwise, if it's retracing on lower, look for it to probably come back down into like the 305 area. There would need to be a little bit more hot and heavy selling in the overall market for that to occur. So keep an eye out on Nvidia for those scenarios. And, you know, upside, downside breakpoints, we really have to kind of use Friday as a reference. Nvidia downside breakpoint, probably about 323. So if it's coming underneath 323, expect more downside. If Nvidia is holding above 330, expect to see that 340. So that is AMD and Nvidia. Let's check out PayPal, PYPL, and PayPal getting clapped. Got destroyed on Friday. This is really a decently downsized move. And look, you know, we got a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, coinciding with a downtrend and a resistance point. I don't think that downtrend was created, though, until we made that pivot. So anyways, confluence of resistance, big smackdown from that level. Boy. Then we had a gap down, a little wedge, a pop of the wedge, failed to hold the wedge of support right there. Normally, buyers should be looking for a higher low. What happens when the higher low doesn't happen? We make a lower low. And so PayPal getting clapped. This thing looks like it might still want to sell off. And you want to really be patient with the dip buy probably. When there's this hot and heavy selling, you generally just want to look to prior structure. And this prior structure may not be until the 180s area. So PayPal, there's probably a dip buy at 180s. Otherwise, it might just go sideways and zigzag sideways to slightly lower. So be careful on PayPal. If I briefly check the expected move, about a $10 expected move. So yeah, that would put that right at about that 180, 183 level. So be careful on PayPal. Buyers are not buying it for a certain reason. You know, if I had a choice between PayPal and SQ, Square, you know, based off the chart, Square looks like it's about to give up the ghost as well. Square doesn't look as bullish. And Square is actually a stock that I was more wrong on this year. I thought Square was going to continue on and push to higher highs. But ever since that last report, it had the chance to break out. What happens when you have the chance to break out and fail to break out? Well, you tend to break on down. So be careful on Square, PayPal, FinTech. Doesn't look hot as of right now. Maybe there's an opportunity that arrives at Weenie Trades Live. But until then, let the dust settle. Just let the dust settle, you know? Let it go on through. So next up, we got his Target. Target, beastie new all-time highs ahead of the report. Boy, Target, I haven't been trading it too much. You know, I took the dip buy on Target in these 230s, 225s area, and I took profits at about the 250s on the trading side of things. Still holding the investment, so I don't really care about any of the recent price action. I was looking at it on after it reported, and it just didn't seem like it was worth risking any money to take Target to the long side. And on Friday, we've gotten kind of an inverted hammer. Looks like it wants to sell off just a little bit more because that candle body is closing near the lows of the day. So I'm looking for a little bit more downside on Target. I do think that there is a dip buy on Target at the 242 level. Shh. Don't tell anybody about the dip buy at 242. Okay. Just me. So 242. I'm going to just double alert that level. I think that Target for a trading side of things is that 242 level. But in terms of like, you know, the investing side of things, you know, is it a red day? Yeah, it's probably a good buy. Not financial advice, but Target's kind of just guaranteeing money towards me. So I like guaranteed money. So Target, watch for that 242. Otherwise, I just expect Target to go sideways. Maybe if it stabilizes and forms a different pattern, and maybe breaks above, you know, 255, then we can maybe take it for a potential partial gap fill towards the upside. But I wouldn't expect Target to go, you know, much above 263 before the end of the year. So that's probably the high of the year for Target. It was a good year for Target. It was a good last year for Target. No red flags with Target, just a little bit overcooked. Looks like they might be going through, we'll double check on fundamentals on Target later. So that is Target. Next up, we got his NEO. NIO, and NEO also looks pretty sick. I've been talking about this 43 level. Gosh, those sellers really stubborn at that 43 and then a sell-off. NIO doesn't look as strong as other stocks, and it's probably just the China waiting problems on NIO. So, NIO's my favorite Chinese stock, Chinese company of the list. But the thing is, I also like technicals. And so, yeah, if NIO gets above, still mark your calendar, 43, then we can get going to the upside. If we're not above 43, though, I wouldn't be interested in NIO. It's probably just going to fizzle out and go sideways, chop around. Maybe it goes higher a little bit. Maybe it goes lower a little bit. For me, though, NIO, the line in the sand from this point is 35. If NIO's beneath 35, it could be lights out, and NIO could be headed down to 20. If NIO can hold that 35, there's hope that it can potentially get a trend change to the upside. So be very careful on NIO. I love being a bull, but I also like looking at charts. All we see on the weekly time frame over here is an equilibrium. So we have our high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high. We're scouting a higher low, probably at about 30, above 35. And then we'll get to the apex. And then we'll see if we can break out to the upside or break down to the downside. So this NIO needs to correct through time based on what I'm seeing on the chart. So keep an eye out on NIO. Watch it for it to go sideways and resolve itself later. I think that's that beer talking. Anyways, here's the breakout on volume. If we get a breakout on volume, that would be our signal for the direction that NIO has chosen. So keep an eye out on volume. Are we, getting above a couple hundred million? What is this? Resistance of volume resistance of 220 million. So if NIO's above, 230 million on a day, maybe we could get a upside break point or downside break point on NIO. So that is NIO. Let's check out Riot. Riot, if we just briefly break this down on the daily. Riot, we were talking about this on this day on the live stream. I was like, selling Riot puts, a little bit sketchy. It was sketchy for a reason. Riot got clapped. So after that clappage, though, we came into a prior area of support and have started to rally. That's good. That's good. It's going to be correlated with Bitcoin. So now, Riot, based off this pattern, as long as this low holds, call it, 32, right above 32, expect it to go sideways to slightly higher. Beneath 32, expect it to go sideways to slightly lower. I would not expect Riot to really go much higher than 41 this upcoming week. So 41, probably a very rewarding upside target if you're already long on Riot. So that is Riot this week. Next up we got is Unity. Unity, nice good bull flag over here. Rally, bull flag, pop. Now we're just kind of consolidating up here. So based off this pattern, on Thursday we made a nice new high of 210, pulled on back. So generally that's a little bit of a false breakout. It needed to hold the prior breakout area just a little bit better. Friday having a decent down day. Investors might be a little bit scared from that down day and sell off the stock just a little bit more. I do think that there's probably a dip buy on Unity at about the 170 level. 170, set your alert, whatever it may be. 170 seems like a good area of value. And why 170? Well, it's the prior all-time high. Prior all-time high, you break above. Now let's see if it can hold that old breakout area as support. If it can do that, sweet, super bullish. Otherwise, yeah, that formation is generally a bearish formation, descending triangle, breakdown, kickback rally, breakdown, bear flag, drop, kickback rally, drop, whatever it may be. So yeah, 170 on Unity seems to be the dip buy. Otherwise, if you're aggressive over Friday's high, that would take out all of the sellers of Friday over Friday's high, and that would be over 200. So if Unity is above 200, sure, you could take an upside break point. It's pretty aggressive because of the run that it's been on. But hey, whatever floats your boat. Alrighty, you guys. That's all I have for this Sunday. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll get ready for another amazing week here at Weenie Trades. Bye-bye for now.